Yep, 120, 120%. That's what I put in every single fucking day to the day I die. Now, one of the things I shared recently was the single greatest piece of advice there is, period, as it relates to training to build muscle. I'll share it again because that's how fucking valuable it was. You ready for this? Get ready. Get a pen. Write this down. To promote maximal growth of any muscle throughout its entirety, one must recruit and fatigue as many of the muscle fibers that make up that muscle as possible without overworking the body's capacity to recover. Now, that's fucking gold right there. You just got your money's worth. That is worth the price of admission. You could turn the video off now, and as long as you remember that, you will have benefited greatly from this. In fact, this is something you definitely want to remember and not forget. So there's a little tip there. You might want to tattoo this on your face or your ass. And the reason is, if you tattoo this on your body, if you practically apply this information properly, your body's going to get bigger. You're going to grow muscle. That's going to stretch out that tattoo. It's going to look like fucking garbage. If you put it on your face or your ass, depending on what you're into, somebody will always be able to see it, and they'll be able to remind you of it so that you never forget it. That's how fucking valuable it is. Now, logic would then suggest that to maximize your return on investment, efforts should revolve around locally exhausting a muscle to the best of your capacity. Now we know the desired end result, which is local exhaustion. How can we promote it? So we got a little diagram here. We got LS, LE, GS, GE. LS basically stands for local stimulation, which is provided by isolation movements. GS, global stimulation, which is provided by compound movements. LE, local exhaustion, which is the desired end result that we want. And GE, global exhaustion. So local stimulation can promote local exhaustion as well as global exhaustion, because you can just pick various exercises that target different muscle groups and globally exhaust your body throughout its entirety. But we cannot use a compound movement to locally exhaust a muscle, or can we? Now, can we promote local exhaustion with global stimulation? And the answer actually is yes, because the demand placed on a specific muscle will vary throughout a full range of motion. Therefore, we can modify the range of motion when performing a compound movement to increase the demand on a specific muscle and promote local exhaustion. So an example would be with the bench press. With the bench press, you got your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps all contributing to producing force to do the movement. Now, the weight that you're lifting, unless you're using variable resistance, but if you're using a free weight, it's constant at the bottom and the top of the range. So if you're using 200 pounds, it's 200 pounds on the chest and it's 200 pounds with your arms fully locked out. But the amount of stress placed on the muscles will vary based on the range of motion. When the bar is closer to your body, your chest is in a more stretched position, and the muscle that is stretched the most is recruited the most. As you progress through the range of motion and you extend your elbows, what's going to happen is the triceps are going to take on a greater percentage of the load. So you can modify the way you perform your movements to promote local exhaustion. Will it be the same as performing an isolation movement? Not entirely, but the information is incomplete if all you believed or thought was that to locally exhaust the muscle, you had to use isolation movements. You don't. You can promote the same result or very similar with compound movements by modifying the way that you perform the lift. So that's something that I wanted to share. Once again, valuable piece of information. Tattoo it on your face or your ass so that somebody can always see it depending on what you're into and where people are standing in relation to where you are. And they'll be able to remind you so you never forget. As long as you do that, it doesn't matter what the fuck you do, you're going to promote a positive muscle building response. If you like the information, feel free to share. Click the fucking button at the bottom, subscribe to the channel, support me. I'll keep bringing you better information than you're going to find anywhere on the fucking planet, especially in comparison to those watered down bullshit websites like bodybuilding.com, Flex Online, Muscular Development. It's all fucking garbage. It's all watered down. I'll explain things in a way that you understand why you're doing what you're doing so you can maximize your return on investment of time and effort.